oligodendrocyte. Let me show you the structure right here. Okay, this is the cell body of a neuron, and then those are the axons. Okay, the actual axon is the yellow tube you see right there. The axon is protected by a layer surrounding them, indicated by the gray structure right there. Go back to the analogy I used you guys, the copper electrical wire and the rubber around them. Okay, the rubber around them, wrapped around the axon in the nervous tissue, actually has a name. We call them the myelin sheet. Yes, the myelin sheet are the sheet that wrap around the axon to protect them. Okay, in the CNS, the myelin sheet is actually made up by a type of cell, oligodendrocyte. So it's actually the cell that wrap around the axon to protect them. That should conclude the neuroglia cell that found in the CNS. The next two cells, the Schwann cell and the satellite cell, they are found in the PNS. However, they function almost the same. This is a typical neuron found in the PNS. Cell body and axon right here. Do you see that? The axon also has myelin sheet. However, the cell that make up the myelin sheet around the neuron that found in the PNS, they are not oligodendrocytes. They are Schwann cells. So Schwann cell make up the myelin sheet in the PNS, where the oligodendrocyte make up the myelin sheet in the CNS. That's the difference. Okay? And then this right here, the neuron that found in the PNS, usually protected by a small cell around them, and those are called the satellite cells. That should conclude all the neuroglia cells that we have discussed, right? So when you study this, study the name, what function in general they do in the nervous tissue, and what system they belong to, CNS or the PNS. And you will see a lot of discrimination that between the PNS and the CNS. And here's one. If you found a cell body with the dendrite and with the axon in the CNS, you call that's a neuron. However, if you find a neuron in the PNS, we don't call them neuron, we call them ganglia cells. Just to distinguish between the two structures. Another difference is when you have a bunch of axons that bundle together, well, in the PNS, we call that a nerve. So your nerve is nothing but a bundle of axons. Are you with me? But if you find the bundle of axons in the CNS, we don't call them nerve. We call them tract. T-R-A-C-K. They're the same. They're a bunch of axons. But the axon in the PNS, we call them nerve. The axon found in your CNS, we call them tract. One more. Tract. T-R-A-C-K. S-A-K. C-I-T-C-T-H, excuse me. What do I think about tract? Another thing.
Can you actually repeat a bunch of ganglions?
A bunch of cell body. A bunch of cell body found in the PNS. We call that ganglia. Or ganglia, plural. But when you see a bunch of neuron cell body in the system, you call them neuron, or some type of call them the body. They're different names. You say Niso body or something like that, that means that you have a group of cell body. Different name. And you learn more. There are major differences between the two systems. So, guess what we study from now until the end of this chapter? No? We haven't go to the system yet. Neuron. We just talk about 6 different types of neuroglia cell, and the rest of the semester we talk about neuron. Neuron this, neuron that, especially the physiology, which is fun. You ready? So you don't spend a whole chapter talking about single cell for no reason, right? Because that cell makes us who we are. Neuron is the one that makes you, I think, I solve a problem, I do this and do that. All that right there, we call that the neuron. Okay? So